Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us this morning on our webinar. We're just going to give a minute or two there for people to join, and we'll come back to you then. Good morning, everybody. Thank you for joining us this morning at our webinar, our Regenerative Agriculture webinar, which we're holding as part of the REGINA Erasmus Plus project. We're delighted to be joined this morning, or this afternoon in some cases, by participants from all over Europe and even further afield, from academia, from research, from students from different universities that are joining us. We have members of the farming community. We also have lifelong learning students. We have the agencies and rural development agencies as well who are joining us this morning for a very, very important discussion around regenerative agriculture and the importance of education and the importance of learning and sharing of information. So to open the webinar this morning without any delay, I'm going to hand over to CCAD CEO, Ryan Howard, who will open the webinar and welcome you all. Thank you.
Thank you, Katie, and welcome everybody who's joining us here this morning, this afternoon. As Katie said, this is around a project called REGINA, the focus of which has been around regenerative agriculture and bringing, I suppose, the ideas and thoughts of farming and academic and community, I suppose, representatives together from various different countries, supported through the European Commission or European Union funding for Erasmus. And I suppose just to recognise as well the Euro Academy organisation who are behind the whole administration of this project, and thank them as well. The project itself, and I come from an Irish perspective, it was a really interesting space for us to get into because it brings us into an area when at a time and when we have to be really concerned about so many things, but our soil, our food, the security of that, but also its future and the crisis that we have in the likes of biodiversity. And I suppose where we come from, CCAD, our organization, we are a community development organization. So our involvement in agriculture and with farmers has to do with people as much as it has to do with nature, soil, and food. It's about how people connect to each other and how we are working closely with farmers to find solutions, not against, to work together to find the future for our kids and for the future. And that is about cooperation and collaboration. And this project has always been and is continuing to be about that cooperation and collaboration from across Europe, from different backgrounds and different cultures. And we're delighted to have been part of it. And I hope it will be the beginning of, not the end of, a process that what you'll hear today is something that you will find both interesting and would like to see maybe continue to develop, because where we're at is, and what we're beginning to build is tools for learning and for sharing with each other. And I think we're very much at the beginning of learning more ways in which we can help each other to understand just how important our soil health is too. Not only food and the security of that, but also how it is and how important it is to the health of our area, our regions, and our part of the world and beyond. So just my role is really at this stage is to thank everybody, those of you who've joined us, but also to thank those who've been participating and working with us, the farmers across Europe who've been part of it. I want to thank everybody who's given time in terms of developing case studies, attended workshops, provided information. I want to thank farmers in particular because it is about land management and soil management. And I suppose here locally, for example, we had huge cooperation and support by so many across Ireland, but particularly in this region. And I suppose without naming too many, but naming people like Paul Moore, who's a wonderful person in terms of his knowledge and interest in terms of how he is a farmer and his land can contribute more positively towards where we're going in terms of biodiversity and soil and food security. So recognizing all in that space. I want to also thank our panel here today who represent our partners, Rock, Patricia, Antonio and Marco, just to say thank you for the time that they've given in preparing for today. And particularly, I suppose, on my own team, Isabel Old and Isabel Power, who were there behind the project over the last 3 years, but now also Miriam and to Katie for organising today, and a huge amount of effort going into preparing for today. So with that, Katie, I'm going to hand back to you and look forward with everybody else to a really interesting set of inputs. So thank you.
Thank you, Ryan, and thank you for that introduction. So just very quickly, we're not going to keep you, just have a quick look at the webinar overview and what we're going to cover today. So as Ryan mentioned, we're joined by our partners who are leading academics in the field of regenerative agriculture, and we're delighted to have them on board today for the webinar. So they're going to quickly just run through initially just a little bit of an introduction to REGINA and the 4 modules which have been developed as part of this project. So just before we actually start, during the webinar, we're going to have a number of polls where we'd be really grateful for any feedback and help that you can give in terms of the future development of the online learning platform, but also potential ongoing activity of the REGINA partners within this area. So first of all, I'm just going to launch a quick poll here now. If you wouldn't mind just popping in there, it's just a little bit of information about who we have here with us today. Who's joining us, and maybe just about your knowledge of regenerative agriculture. And that could be really just from your own perspective in terms of your understanding of regenerative agriculture, be that nothing, or be it that you're already very experienced either in practice or in research or in teaching in the area. So I'm just going to leave that open there for a second. If you could possibly just fill that in for us there, that would be fantastic. Okay, I'm going to close that there now if everybody's had an opportunity to fill it in. I think there's still people actually just filling it in there. I'll give it another couple of seconds. Okay, we'll end that there now. Thank you very much for that. So I suppose, first of all, we're going to hand over to Patricia Hanbari. So Patricia has been the project manager of the Erasmus project to date and has worked extremely hard in the background in terms of coordinating all of the activities which have been taking place over the last 3 years. So I'm going to hand over to Patricia there now. Patricia is with is our Hungarian partner. So Patricia, if you'd like to start.
Yeah, thank you very much, Katie. I hope that you can see my presentation on the screen, and I also welcome everyone who has joined us today in this international webinar. What I'm going to do today is just to give you a quick introduction into the REGINA project, because I think it's very important that you also understand the context, the framework in which we have been working in the last 3 years. And then I'm going to also talk about our first module, which is the regenerative agriculture orientation. So first of all, a couple of thoughts about the project. The REGINA project has an official name, of course, which is called Regenerative Agriculture, an innovative approach towards mitigation of climate change through multi-tier learning. This is an Erasmus Plus cooperation partnership in the higher education strand that has started in November 2021. So we have been working on the development of this project and all our results in the last, 3 years. And we are actually about to finish the project. And this is a transnational partnership with 8 partners involved. And I think it's very interesting to have a look at the partnership and the partners, because as I mentioned, this is a project in the higher education strand, and this is quite obvious that we have universities in the partnership. One university where I belong as well is the Széchenyi István University from Hungary, who is acting as the coordinator of the project. And there is another university from Italy, the University of Florence. But besides these two universities, what you see here is, I think, a very diverse partnership. And as Brian also mentioned, collaboration, cooperation was very important in this project. And I think it is also thanks to this diverse partnership. Because apart from the universities, we also have two secondary education institutions, two secondary schools. One is the Forestry Technology School from Postojna, from Slovenia, and we also have a secondary school from Hungary, the Verespete Secondary School. Both of these schools are involved in agriculture and agroforestry, so their students are very interested and keen on learning about new ways of agriculture. And besides the formal educational institutions, we also have 4 other partners who are not involved in formal education. They are associations or NGOs, either dealing with non-formal adult education or dealing especially with farmers. We have here Academy Association from Greece, which is the Europe-wide association focusing on rural development and sustainable rural development issues, also strong emphasis on adult education. We have here, of course, CCAD, who we have already heard of in the first introduction presentation. And we also have 2 more associations dealing with farmers, one from Slovenia, the Association for Conservation Agriculture, and the Country Association Farmers Society from Hungary, both dealing with real practitioners and farmers. And I think this diversity is very important in understanding what we have developed in the frame of REGINA project. And we aimed to have learning materials and content that is really usable and adaptable in all tiers of education. So just a couple of words about the main aims of the REGINA project. Of course, we wanted to, promote the principles and practices of regenerative agriculture across Europe. And first, we did and implemented the research, and we reported on the existing good practices of regenerative agriculture. We also tried to identify problems and attitudes that hinder the further development. And we also created a library of information, a library of good practices on regenerative agriculture. So if any of you is interested in have a look in what are the good cases of real practitioners, you are very welcome to have a look at this library. And of course, being an educational project, one of the main aims of the project was to create and also pilot test a new and flexible methodology and a huge amount of educational content in order to deliver regenerative agriculture courses, especially for students in agriculture and related disciplines in higher education. But as you could also see from the diversity of the partnership, we also try to adapt this higher education methodology in higher education learning content and tools so that they also meet the needs of secondary education students and also the needs of non-formal adult learners, especially farmers. And last but not least, we also wanted to design an interdisciplinary and digital open learning environment for all of these 3 tiers of education. And this learning environment aims to host the resources that we have created during the framework of the project. And we also want to offer interaction possibilities for everybody who is interested in regenerative agriculture. And this is the part that we are going to focus on during the webinar today, because this digital open learning environment that we have created is called the REGINA platform that we're going to introduce you in the following presentations. So now we move on to the REGINA platform. What it is? Well, basically, this is an online interactive platform that is accommodating the, well, let's say, extensive learning resources that we have created in the frame of the project. And it has been designed in a way to suit the learning needs of all three tiers of education, namely the university higher education, the secondary education, and also adult education, especially for farmers and advisors. From a technical point of view, the REGINA platform was designed as the Moodle learning management system, which I'm sure that many of you who are here have already heard of, because that's a popular, free, open source, and easy to use learning tool that is used basically worldwide, everywhere. So this platform is basically a digital learning environment that is both suitable for regular education, but also suitable for self-learners. And basically this platform is guiding teachers and educators and suggesting ways on how to use these learning materials. And also self-learners are free to select any topics or materials that they would like to get to know better. Regarding the content of the platform, well, it is structured in a very simple and clear way because it contains modules, which are the bigger group of topics. Here on the picture, you can see the 4+1, five big modules that we have. And it also contains, each of the modules contains topics, which are smaller single learning subjects or learning units. Most of the modules contain lessons, short videos, tools for self-evaluation, and also further guidance for teachers and educators. Of course, all the materials and learning resources that we have produced in the project are freely available, and so is the REGINA platform. Naturally, you just need to have a registration so you can access the platform. But once you have the registration, everything is freely available, and we're going to send you full details about how to register to the REGINA platform after the webinar so that you can have access right away. So how does it work? I'm going to say a couple of words about the functions and the use of the platform. Well, basically, the first thing that you need to decide is which materials you would like to access. There are three main categories, respective to the suggested learning tiers of education. So you can select materials for higher education, for secondary education, or for adult education. And in order to select, you just simply need to select the type of the learning tier. So the materials that are here can be basically used in three different ways. One of them is that REGINA platform can be used as the main source of learning, either in class or in distance learning. And in this case, the students should follow the logical order of the REGINA modules and topics. And the role of the teacher is more to assist this learning process, answer the questions, select project-based activities if they want to. The second way to use these materials and the REGINA platform is to use it as a supplementary source of learning. In this case, teachers and educators are selecting specific modules or topics for further learning. And students are mainly guided here by the teachers, by the educators, and address those topics that are in line with their course content and their activities. And the third way to use the REGINA platform is basically to use it as an individual learning tool, because it can also be done, especially in distance learning. And in this case, the students are responsible for the learning process, following through the modules and the topics, but basically in their own pace. But this also doesn't mean that they have no interaction platforms, because they can communicate with other users of the platform, and also they can get feedback on their learning results. So about the platform structure and the content, the platform starts with a short introduction to the REGINA course, the main topics, and the structure of the modules and the topics. The module contents, when you get to the page, are displayed in a drop-down menu, and you just need to select the requested module, and you will see the content basically right away. So when opening the requested module, first you will see a short description on the content and the topic and the course goals, and then you can see the actual learning materials categorized in specific topics. It's important to note that the number of topics is different per modules, and it also suggests the depth of the materials in the respective modules. So from now on, we're going to focus on module 1, the regenerative agriculture orientation module. So this module is the starting point, the basis of the REGINA platform, because it gives a comprehensive understanding of the principles and practices of regenerative agriculture. So basically, this is where you should start when you don't know anything about regenerative agriculture and you want to be more familiar with it. And as a basis of our courses, module 1 contains 3 topics. The first topic is the historical context. Of course, it explores the origins and the evolution of regenerative agriculture practices, and also mentions the modern regenerative agriculture movements. The second topic that we have here is the definition of regenerative agriculture. First, it seems like it's an easy question to answer, but when you're going to see our learning materials, you will find out that it's not an easy question to answer, because there is a huge diversity of different approaches to regenerative agriculture, and we would like to present these different approaches in this topic so that all of our users are getting the same understanding of what we mean on regenerative agriculture. And last but not least, the third topic is the holistic approach, which is also very important when we talk about regenerative agriculture practices. And basically, this topic explores the principles and the practices of regenerative agriculture. And another important question is what kind of learning materials you're going to find in each of the topics. And I'm going to show you a short demonstration of that. So first of all of the topics start with the PowerPoint presentation. This gives you an overview of the lesson, of the content, and it is also downloadable. You can make notes or print it ahead in case of an in-class activity. And in order to view the PPT, you just need to simply click on the content. The second thing is what we're going to find in module 1 is the content videos. These are approximately 50 minutes videos according to the PPT file explaining the content. All videos are in English with English subtitles. And in order to watch the video, you just simply need to click on the play button. I have brought you a simple demonstration from one video lesson that is from topic 2, focusing on the definition of regenerative agriculture. And I will click on it so that we can see it as a demonstration for like just 1 minute.
After briefly exploring the history of regenerative agriculture in the previous topic, the focus of the current lesson will shift to examining the definitions of RA. As we progress, you will come to understand that I'm referring to multiple definitions rather than a singular one. Therefore, the key question of the present topic is, what is regenerative agriculture? The reason why I previously mentioned definitions is that there is no consensus around any particular definition.
So this was just a short demonstration. You can find these videos as well on the REGINA platform. Apart from the videos, we also have lessons for all of the modules and all of the topics. These are the files that contain the explanatory text of the given topic. It can be used also as a self-learning tool, or you can underline the most important remarks or use it as a learning content. And then you will also find 2 tools for discussion and evaluation. one of the tools for discussion would be the open questions that could be used as an in-class activity, or also it could be used for individual learners. Here you can review the main points of the lesson, obviously. And at the end of the topics, you will also find a short multiple choice quiz. This will help learners to self-evaluate their gained knowledge, and it also gives automatic feedback on the correct answers. And at the end of each module, you will also find further materials for educators and teachers. And for example, one of the main issues here is that it includes detailed and downloadable lesson plan for the in-class activities. And these lesson plans include fully guided 90 minutes lesson plans with a suggestion of gamification activities, what is the content of the lesson, what are the objectives, what are the applied methods, really a step-by-step guide for educators. These are just suggestions on how we imagine teaching regenerative agriculture courses at schools, at universities. But of course, this can be very helpful for educators and teachers. So that's all that I wanted to say about the project and about Module 1 and about the overview of the platform itself regarding the materials. And now I hand over to our other presenters to also dwell into the content of the other modules. So thank you very much for the attention.
Patricia, thank you so much for that and for that introduction to the platform. That was really helpful just to see even the little video there of how it works, and having logged on myself and taken a look through the various modules it's actually really interactive, really intuitive. It's a great tool for learning. So Patricia, thank you for that. We're going to hand over now to our next presenter, Dr. Rok Mihalik. So Rok is from the University of Ljubljana in Slovenia, and Rok is going to take a look at the second module, which is the agronomic aspects of regenerative agriculture. Thanks, Rok.
Thank you. I hope we hear each other. Yeah, great. Patricia presented very nicely the whole structure of the teaching modules and the platform. And inside is also the agronomic aspect. The main idea is that the model provides a detailed understanding of the practices and techniques involved in implementing regenerative agriculture on farms, and how these practices particularly improve soil health, enhancing biodiversity, and increase in the same time productivity and profitability. It's really important that we do not just follow one part of sustainability, like environmental health, but the farmers must sustain productivity and make their life sustainable. And another aspect which is really put forward in regenerative agriculture is that we look at the whole system, not just some techniques and improvement of those techniques, but that the techniques must work in a environment, in a broader environment, in a farm as a whole, and it must work in a long term. So the whole system approach is very much in our minds when we talk about regenerative agriculture. Of course, soil health and soil management is the fundamental for regenerative agriculture. We have to have the sound basis, that is the soil where we produce our food. And without the sound basis, we cannot talk about regenerative agriculture. That means that we have to have a proper pH, soil structure. We have to prevent soil erosion. We have to prevent, also other deteriorations of the soil. and the availability of nutrients must be on adequate level. There must be enough food for soil organisms to work. And this is all connected with cover cropping, reduced tillage, crop rotation, crop selection and management, of course, where we have not just proper crop material, but we tend to have the soil under living crops all the year round. So we are searching for a system which can have a lot of crops in one year with intercropping, with cover crops. And it's also important, if possible, to integrate livestock into cropping system, which is dealt more in detail in a module which will be presented later by Marco and Antonio. Here I have to say that Professor Marco Napoli and Antonio Pescatore made the most of the work in the preparation of the course in those segments here. Integrated pest management is really important so that we do not use too much pesticides. We want to use it as less as possible. But again, we have to follow the most advanced scientific knowledge, not to be stacked in some previous thinkings modes. So we are regenerative agriculture. What we see here is an advanced system, is not a system from the past. And it goes in line with integrated with management. So how to use as low inputs as possible and to gain as much as possible, so to improve the use efficiency of nutrients and other inputs into the system. This would be done the best with integrated, also modern technology. Now precision agriculture is put forward, but without a good sound agronomic knowledge, precision agriculture cannot work towards regenerative agriculture. So we have to have this holistic approach and then use modern technique in a proper way. Again, also the farmers' knowledge is very important because the farmers observe their fields and they see things which cannot be seen by the machines, and that will be also in the future. Although the farmer itself can use drones, robots, and use satellite images and so on. The teaching method, what you heard from Patricia, is are various from the lectures in the rooms and seminars. We do have foreseen field trips and discussions and problem-based learning and project-based learning. So it's all kinds of approaches are there. And the complete module takes about 3 weeks. Of course, there's a quiz and the finished project, which is evaluated by the teacher. And also the students can be involved in the evaluation, but also some components can be taken out just for the purpose of adult education or secondary school education. So this is the complete course for the university education, but it is useful also for other types of educations. You have seen also that we have built a platform in Moodle, and this is really very useful, and we invite you to look at it and to start using it. So thank you.
Thank you, Roch. Thank you very much for giving us that demonstration of the second module on the online learning platform. So next we're going to be joined by Antonio Pescatore. So Antonio is with the Department of Agriculture, Food, Environment and Forestry with the University of Florence in Italy. And Antonio is going to take a look at the third module, sustainability concepts. You're very welcome, Antonio, and thank you.
Hi, Katie. Thank you. Thank you so much for the introduction. I will try to share the screen. Are you able to see it? Okay, perfect. So welcome to you all. The main topic of my today's presentation will be the sustainability in regenerative agriculture and its implication behind the hype of the media. As you can see, this is the part about the third module of regenerative agriculture of the REGINA course. This is the model, more or less the model structure of the third part. And today I will give you a brief summary of the first three parts of this module, as they are the more practical. If you are interested in the remaining parts, you can ask or see in the REGINA course. So first of all, as most of you probably know, the water management is a critical factor in agriculture, directly influencing crop growth and soil health. Water that come from precipitation or irrigation follow one of the 5 pathways that are here schematized. So can transpire, evaporate, run off, leach, and be stored in soil. In regenerative agriculture, what is the main aim is that this pathway have like 5 key goals, water management goals that are here reported. Of course, we have to optimize as much as possible the evapotranspiration, but also reduce as much as possible the runoff and increase the water infiltration. Another important aspect is to improve the management of rainfall and irrigation and coordinate the water resource management more effectively. One of the other important aspects is linked to the organic matter. In fact, if we are trying to increase the soil organic matter, we can also enhance the water holding capability and capacity of soil. This figure illustrates the role of water as an input in regenerative agriculture, showing how it interacts with both soil properties and plant properties. With the red circles, you can see the red circles highlights the soil properties like soil infiltration rate and readily available moisture that are directly linked to the water management, and of course that are influenced by soil factors, soil properties like soil type, depth, and structure. Improving these properties will allow a soil to better retain and filter water, and reducing runoff and enhancing also groundwater recharge. The green areas instead are dealing more with plant-related benefits, where crop experience enhanced evapotranspiration and grow more productively in soil with a higher water availability. At a farm level, practice like mulching can minimize evapotranspiration and protect soil, while at the catchment level, healthy soil can mitigate runoff and erosion. So to sum up, dealing with water management, soil and plant management in regenerative agriculture could optimize water retention and use, contributing to the sustainable crop growth and ecosystem health. Dealing with biodiversity, this is what biodiversity means in agriculture. These are all practices that could be even more optimized in regenerative agriculture. So biodiversity can be in space and in time. In space, we are talking about the use of intercropping and agroforestry, while in time, it's all about the application of crop rotation. And this is an example of a biodiversity success story at farm level. It is a two-year and two-location field experiment and deal with 5 different relay intercropping. They were evaluated under 4 different nitrogen fertilization levels. So the sowing of different crops, of cover crops, was performed among the winter wheat rows. And the effects were evaluated both on winter wheat performances and also on the subsequent crop, that is the barley. According to the figure, no effect of cover crop was detected in winter wheat yield. However, in the subsequent, the nitrogen effect was clear in this figure. In fact, at a higher nitrogen level, there is an increase of total yield. But at the same time, regarding the cover crops, the total yield of barley was significantly higher, where legume were intercropped with winter barley. So nearly at all the considered nitrogen levels. But if you can see from the figure, I think at the highest nitrogen level, the effect of this intercropping was lower. And this is another aspect of regenerative agriculture, so reducing the greenhouse gases emission. In fact, regenerative agriculture could offer effective strategies to reduce the greenhouse gases emission. Of course, applying different practices. And some of them aims to optimize nitrogen use efficiency. In these figures, you can see a common fertilizer and its effect after its application. With this kind of application, you will have like between 30 and 50% of nitrogen loss. So this is where regenerative agriculture intervene and could help for enhancing and reducing the greenhouse gases emission. And this figure reports some effective methods that you can, of course, more analyze in detail in the REGINA course for online REGINA platform. And this is how to optimize nitrogen fertilizer application, of course, to enhance crop growth. The first aspect is linked to the timing. If you one key strategy is that if you can split nitrogen distribution throughout the growing season, it's better for the efficiency of nitrogen uptake by plants. Another aspect, another approach is adopting slow-release fertilizer, which could provide nutrients to plants over an extended period. This fertilizer delay the nutrient availability, contrasting with the rapidly available option that we have seen before, and with the fertilizer where we can have like half 50% of the loss. And one of the examples was urea, but also ammonium nitrate. And in this kind of fertilizer, it is also included the urea formaldehyde, that is a pioneer in this category. And they require microbial action to break down into usable form. Another technology that is used is the controlled release technology. So that fertilizer that use like protecting coating to regulate nutrient release, ensuring aligning the plant requirement with the spread. And last but not least is the nitrogen stabilizer, with nitrogen that is like given in a prolonged time and in soil in a useful form, enhancing efficiency and reducing losses. So by implementing these methods, we can significantly optimize use of fertilizer and improve crop productivity. And as I previously mentioned, in the early morning platform, you will be able to find more material and detail about the sustainability in regenerative agriculture. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Antonio, thank you very much for your presentation and for the information there that you've shared on the third module, sustainability concepts. So finally, we're going to go to Dr. Marco Napoli, So Marco is also with the Department of Agriculture, Food, Environment and Forestry with the University of Florence. And Marco is going to take a look at the 4th module, Insights on Specific Crops and Livestock. You're very welcome, Marco, and thank you.
Good morning to everyone. Thank you, Katie, for the presentation. I'll try to divide the... Okay. Now you should see my screen. Okay. So my speech will be about the 4th module, and with the rising demand for sustainable food, there is a growing demand for agricultural professionals able to deal with the regenerative agricultural practice. Regenerative agricultural practice can improve the crop yield and quality, while improve on the same time the resilience of the crop to pest and disease, and contribute to the climate change mitigation through enhancing the soil carbon sequestration. The module structure offers a in-depth look at applying the regenerative agricultural practice to specific crop and livestock, highlighting the benefits of the sustainable agriculture. The module is dedicated to equipping students and professionals with a comprehensive understanding of the principle and benefits for that can be obtained by applying the regenerative practice for both crop and livestock. So these modules aims to educate the students on different types of crop and mixed farming system, emphasizing their specific characteristics and how they can be effectively integrated into a regenerative farming system. So the topics include the cereal cultivation, the cultivation of industrial crops, horticultural crops, the grassland management, the agroforestry, and the livestock management. For what concerns the topic cereal cultivation, the topic explores how regenerative agriculture techniques can be applied to the cereal cropping system. So practices such as the cover cropping, the crop rotation, and reduced tillage are evaluated and explained on how they can improve the nutrient cycling, the soil structure, but also improve the carbon sequestration, and so can provide benefit to the crop growth. So, for example, conservation tillage methods like no-till and strip tillage, how they protect the soil from erosion, and how they can be applied specifically to the cereal cultivation. So the course will highlight the regenerative agricultural practice in the cereal cultivation, showing how these techniques can enhance the crop yield with a low environmental impact. For what concerns the industrial crops, the lesson emphasizes the innovative agricultural techniques to improve the crop productivity and the sustainability in the industrial crop cultivation. And specifically, the course will provide example on sunflower, rapeseed, and cotton cultivation. While sunflower is a crop that is characterized by deep root and is drought tolerant, nutrient efficient, and environmental friendly, and also is a crop that is very important for pollinators. Cotton generally poses environmental challenge to a very high demands in terms of nutrient and water. However, the topic, this part of the course, will show some techniques that can be applied to both easy crop to be cultivated, such as the sunflower, but also to the cotton cultivation. So how to manage a very complex crop in a sustainable way by adopting the regenerative agriculture principle. The lesson on horticultural crops highlight how vegetables crop, so vegetable rich in water and nutrients, play a key role in the cropping system, and so how the sustainable practices like reducing the nitrate application, the nitrogen management, the soil management can enhance the vegetable cultivation in a sustainable way. Also by identify the best crop rotation and intercropping system to prevent the disease development and also enhancing the plant nutrition and resilience in the system. So method aiming to reduce the chemical inputs and to promote the biodiversity, such as also the use of microorganism inoculation, will be delivered to the student. The grasslands management in regenerative agriculture focus on restoring the agrosystem, so improving the soil health and raising healthier livestock through practices such as the rotational and holistic grazing. This method prevents the overgrazing, boost the forage growth, and enhance the soil carbon sequestration and the biodiversity of the system. The key benefits include improved health, soil health, the reduction of soil erosion, improve the natural fertilization from the distribution of livestock manure, and so improve or allow an efficient use of the marginal lands. The topic will schedule information related to the techniques like rotational, free, and deferred grazing to optimize the use of the pasture. Also, will be scheduled information related to techniques such as the virtual fencing and the GPS, the use of GPS collars in order to improve the livestock management. The agroforestry course, the agroforestry topic, integrates trees, crops, and livestock in a sustainable system, providing environmental, economic, and social benefits. The course allows to highlight the benefit that can be obtained in biodiversity term, improved soil fertility, and carbon sequestration from the adoption of the agroforestry. Also, the benefit in terms of economic benefit for the farmers and from the community that can be obtained by the integration of trees with the herbaceous cropping system. Finally, the livestock management will explore the integration of livestock into a regenerative farming system. Obviously, also this topic will focus on soil health, the biodiversity, and micronutrient cycling, with the livestock that allow an improvement on the soil structure and enrich the soil with the nutrient obtained from the manure. In a mixed farming system, the mixed farming system provides benefits such as reduction in biodiversity diversification, enhance the reuse and resource recycling, the grazing of the cover crops and the weeds further boost the soil microbiology and the fertility. The main challenge in the adoption of the mixed farming system come from the infrastructure cost and the labor requirements from the farmers. The livestock integration promotes on the counterback an improvement in the long-term soil health and reduce the need for chemicals and fertilizer in the farming system. So in conclusion, the Module 4 provides an in-depth exploration of various crop and livestock systems, emphasizing their role in sustainable agricultural practice. And we examine the characteristics, the benefit, and the challenge of integrating specific crop and livestock in a farming system. And the student will be able to learn how to integrate in all the management practices in a sustainable way according to the regenerative agriculture purpose. Thank you for your attention.
Marco, many thanks for that. So that's been kind of a whistle-stop tour, I suppose, of the 4 modules that are involved in the REGINA online learning platform. But I'd also like to thank all 4 of our panelists today and everyone else involved in developing those modules. There's been a huge amount of work that has gone on in the background in terms of developing those modules and making that online learning platform available. So I suppose we're just going to quickly run one more poll. We'd just like to get your feedback really in terms of the modules and what you've seen today and how perhaps you might be able to integrate that into your learning or your teaching or into your practice. So I'm going to launch this here now quickly. And if you want to take a quick couple of minutes there just to have a look at these questions. So hopefully that's launched there now. If you wanted to take a look at those and you can complete those there first now, that would be fantastic. Thank you all. I see lots of answers coming in there, which is fantastic. Many thanks for that. Obviously, all of your feedback will be extremely useful to the team involved in the REGINA project in terms of our work and in terms of the partnerships moving forward, and also just to ensure that the tools and the online learning platform is really designed to support the people that will be using it and that will get the most benefit from that. I'm going to close that poll there now in a couple of seconds. If there's anybody else that would like to input anything there, I'll give you another second or two. Okay, we'll close that there now. So I suppose just to really close out on the webinar, just in terms of the next steps and what we will follow up with you all moving forward now from the webinar. So thank you for completing that final feedback poll. The slides and the recording will be made available. We'll send those on to you by email, and they'll also be available both on the CCAD REGINA website and also on the REGINA project website itself. So we'll also send you on details of how to register for the platform. So we'd encourage you please to register there and to take a look at the various different modules and see maybe not all of them may be of interest to you, but maybe one or two of the modules, or potentially even just a number of the classes within each of the modules, might be something that might be able to support you in terms of your work or your studies or your practice. So if you have any issues, there is quite a good forum there in terms of support for any issues that you might encounter with that. But obviously, get in touch with us and we can point you in the right direction if you have any issues when you're registering. We'd also welcome any feedback or comments then by email too. If you have anything that you would like to maybe share with us in terms of your thoughts after the webinar today, we would welcome those. So please do feel free to reach out to us and to get in touch. So I'm not too sure whether we still have Ryan here at the moment. I don't see him there, so I'll close up the webinar. Oh, you are there, Ryan. Sorry. Do you want to just say a few words before we close up?
Yeah, no, just well done to everybody. It is brilliant. The material that's been gathered there and how it's been presented is fantastic. And I think we would strongly encourage any educator out there at any level, second, third level, or at the practical level, to make use of these materials. They're there, and we want more and more people to be talking about regenerative agriculture. And I suppose our next step here is to make sure that we also bring much more strongly, I suppose, the whole area of responding as a community in terms of those who participate, those farmers who are taking these practices, that they're rewarded through the market and through the community and through their links back into their own, I suppose, areas. And that's something I'd love to see develop further. Just well done to everybody, Katie, yourself, for doing a great job, and Miriam in the background. And to all the presenters, well done, thank you, and thanks to all that took time to take time with us this morning. So well done.